Thank you, Mr. President. Afghanistan extends a warm welcome to the distinguished delegation of Kazakhstan and commend Kazakhstan for constructively engaging with the UPR working group and accepting a significant number of recommendations. With appreciation, we take note of Kazakhstan's commitment to promotion and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, and measures undertaken to improve population access to public service, including the use of information technology. Finally, I'm pleased that Kazakhstan accepted the number of recommendations made by my delegation and wish Kazakhstan every success in the implementation of all accepted recommendations. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. We proceed with the interactive dialogue. I give the floor to the next speaker on my list, is the delegation of Afghanistan.
Thank you, Mr. President. My delegation cordially welcomes the distinguished delegation of Vietnam to the 18th session of the UPR Working Group and thank them for the presentation of their national report. Afghanistan would like to commend the government of Vietnam for its effort to improve the general human rights situation in the country. Afghanistan takes note of the positive measures taken by the government of Vietnam for the protection and promotion of the human rights, such as making the international cooperation on human rights as a priority for the government, contribution to the establishment of ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, and Vietnam's strong commitment to working together with the UN bodies to enhance cooperation and fight against child-related sexual criminals in the region. Afghanistan acknowledges the considerable progress made by the government of Vietnam in expanding the infrastructure of education for people of different age groups. We believe education is the fundamental need for all. Therefore, we would like to recommend Vietnam to further expand its effort in providing all its citizens access to school and ensure equal enjoyment of the right of education and increase the bilingual education program. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I give the floor to the representative of Albania.
Thank you, Mr. President. Albania welcomes the distinguished delegation of Vietnam and thanks it for the presentation of such a qualitative and comprehensive report before us today. We commend the broad participation of multiple categories of stakeholders in the drafting process of this document and the organization of a workshop at national level to finalize the report in the spirit of full and open cooperation with all interested parties. Albania also welcomes the positive steps taken to abolish the death penalty for several crimes, in particular the cessation of death penalty and life imprisonment for juvenile offenders. Nevertheless, we note with concern that child trafficking, forced labor and prostitution remain problematic in the country. Children also continue to be a marginalized group with regard to the distribution of economic resources. To this end, we highly recommend Vietnam to fully address recommendations and issues of concern raised by CRC with regard to child abuses and economic resources allocation, as well as to consider signing and ratifying of the main international human rights treaties. Thank you, Mr. President.
Por su presentación, Excelencias, Damas y Caballeros, daremos comienzo al debate general sobre el ítem 10. Como es práctica en nuestras discusiones, empezaremos por oír a las delegaciones de los países concernidos en los informes presentados por la Alta Comisionada Adjunta. Siendo así, daré la palabra a la delegación de Afganistán. Tiene usted 5 minutos.
Mr. Vice President, Madam Deputy High Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to welcome the detailed and comprehensive report of the High Commissioner on the situation of human rights in Afghanistan and on the achievement of technical assistance in the field of the human rights in 2014. On 14 June 2014, nearly 7 million Afghans, 31% of them women, turned out to the vote in the historical runoff presidential election. This was the first time that Afghanistan witnessed an elected president transferring power to another elected president through the ballot box. It is a testimony that Afghans want peace and democracy to prevail in their homeland. It is worth mentioning that in spite of all political, institutional and technical challenges, the National Unity Government of Afghanistan presents a unique opportunity for the strengthening of the democratic institution and promotion and protection of human rights. The National Unity Government stands committed to promoting and protecting the human rights of its citizens, and particularly women and children. Mr. Vice President, we cannot close our eyes from the fact that Afghanistan is a war-torn country that has achieved enormous gain and success in the past 13 years. My country has recently crossed the verge of the security and political transition, and the current government is paying particular attention to the human rights of its people, and particularly those of women, children, and other vulnerable groups. As per the last visit of Special Rapporteur on the violence against women to Afghanistan in November last year, many positive legislative and institutional developments have already taken place since 2005. The National Unity Government has given a strict mandate to the Ministry of the Women's Affairs to examine and follow up the case of the violence against women through its provincial offices. As President Ghani stated on the occasion of the International Women's Day in Kabul, our commitment to Afghan women is bringing a fundamental sustainable change in women's role in our society. Mr. Vice President, Afghanistan's progress and prevention of the torture in recent years, but in order to fully eliminate practices of the torture and held perpetrators accountable, the National Unity Government in February of this year announced a new national action plan on the elimination of torture, which will be implemented in accordance with Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission, civil society, and other relevant international partners. The action plan consists of amending the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code, withdrawal of Afghanistan reservation to the Convention Against Torture, and ratification of the optional protocol to the Convention Against Torture. Mr. Vice President, despite our efforts, we are still facing major challenges. The legacy of war and continuation of conflicts are, among others, the main challenges that do not only impede the realization of human rights of Afghans, but also cause human rights violations. Our people continue to lose their life and suffer in various forms from the ongoing conflict. Terrorists and anti-governmental armed groups are targeting inter alia civilian, governmental employees, and religious leaders. The life of each Afghan is of vital importance for us, and we will not spare any measure to protect them. In this vein, the National Unity Government is pursuing a comprehensive peace process, and within the peace process, we will preserve our national value, and we will not compromise our 13 years achievement. And finally, we support the United Nations Human Rights Mechanism and welcome the recommendation made by the High Commissioner. Thank you, Mr.
Gracias a la delegación de Afganistán, y ahora cedo la